Government experiments, people using religion to back an insane cause and form a cult, and the most recent case of brainwashing gone crazy. We have all of this on today's most amazing top 10 list. Coming in at number 10, we have MK Ultra subjects. The CIA has done wild things over the years, and it seems like every time we break a story on them, they are trying to do something with mind control. I mean, I get why. It must be way easier to get your work done when you can control someone's mind. And MK Ultra was probably the biggest version of this. The CIA was using LSD to try and see if it could be used as mind control to manipulate people through the drug. Now, let me tell you that LSD can definitely have an effect on your mind, but the last thing you're going to want to do is be controlled by the man. Now, there haven't been any recorded cases of this actually working, but there are a lot of people who think that this was just the trial phase, and since then they've been able to figure it out and have been using this to control celebrities and politicians. And even though I don't think this is true, people like to come up with conspiracy theories about anything that they don't understand. But there have been some pretty weird videos of celebrities acting weird, but that's probably just celebrities being celebrities. Coming in number 9, we have Patty Hartz. Patty Hartz was kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army, which was a terrorist organization back in the 70s. Patty was from a wealthy family, and it was thought that she had run away from her family to join this group as a form of rebellion, or that she was kidnapped and then would be put up for ransom. Turns out neither was true. She was indeed kidnapped, but they had no interest in holding her for ransom. Instead, the group would constantly abuse and threaten to kill her if she didn't commit crimes. Eventually, she was caught and convicted of bank robbery, but she was eventually pardoned. Coming in at number 8, we have religious fanatics. Now, I'm not talking about any one specific religion. I know for some people, religion is a very beautiful thing, and I think those people can agree that there are other people that use religion as an excuse to commit horrible crimes and attack people. And it doesn't matter what religion we're talking about. There have been people who have bastardized what each religion means so they can brainwash the people around them. There are also people who think it's okay to cover up crimes in the name of God, because if a crime is committed by someone in the church, then there's no way that person should go to jail, right? No, they should for sure go to jail. No matter how you slice it, all the major religions in the world have been twisted to get people on board with some insane belief system that has nothing to do with what was originally preached. Coming in number 7, we have the Manson cult. This might be the most famous one on the list because of the Manson killings. Charles Manson was the head of a cult of young people who he convinced were going to bring down America, and he and his gang were going to rule over it after it fell. It seemed like a pretty bold move for a bunch of insane hippies that were hanging out in the woods, but they were a bold group, as under Manson's orders, members of the cult went out and killed Hollywood celebrities, one of them who was the pregnant Sharon Tate. Now, those are the facts, but let's get into a little bit of the conspiracy stuff. Apparently, Charles Manson was in prison at the time of the MK Ultra trials. People think that he might have not only been a test subject, but he learned how to use LSD to warp people's minds. Once it was out on the streets, he would then use it to make his followers obey. Now, is there a bunch of proof to back what I just said? Of course not, but it's fun to speculate about weird things on this channel. Coming in number 6, we have the RAJNEESHEE. This was one of the wildest cases of people being brainwashed into committing terrorist attacks against their own country. This all dates back to the 80s, when an idol named Rajneesh was facing prosecution in India for having views that were against the status quo. He wanted to take his practice and beliefs elsewhere and thought America would be the perfect place. He managed to buy out an acreage in Oregon and told the authorities that he was going to be using it for agriculture. Well, whenever you give a group of people strong political and spiritual power over thousands, that's when it can go to their heads pretty quickly. The thing is, the RAJNEESHEE on the compound had no interest in farming. They wanted to almost become a country. The state got wind of this and they launched an investigation. In retaliation, the RAJNEESHEE started to send out people to poison food and water supplies with salmonella. Over 700 people were infected. When the raid took place on the RAJNEESHEE land, they found out that people were planning an assassination attempt on the lawyer who was involved in the investigation, and they started stockpiling weapons. Coming in at number 5, we have Elizabeth Smart. When she was only 14 years old, Smart would be taken from her home. Brian Mitchell would kidnap her and take her on the run while abusing her. The wild part about this story is that Smart admits that she had some chances where she could have escaped. She was so afraid of what could have happened if she tried to run away. She was convinced by Mitchell that he would have found a way to harm her or her family if she ever attempted to escape. She talked about how one time the police even asked her if she was the the missing Elizabeth Smart, and she decided not to tell them out of fear of what Mitchell said he could do. Coming in at number 4, we have the Order of the Solar Temple. Here we got another cult, one that was formed in Switzerland. Really, I thought that was such a nice place where no one would ever fight and people wouldn't come up with strange religious schemes to control people's minds. The way that this cult would brainwash its people was through what would first seem like a very close sense of family. They would make you feel like you belonged and that the outside world never felt right because you were supposed to be here the whole time. And then things would start to get a little weird. You would be conditioned to not only think that you were different, but that you shouldn't leave the cult because there would never be anything on the outside for you as good as the offering that was inside the cult. Then, once you were convinced that this was the only family that you would ever have, and that if you ever left you would be rejected by the outside world, you would start to be given tasks to strengthen the cult and your relationship with the cult leaders. This ended when several chapters of the cult participated in a mass suicide where 53 people died. Coming in at number 3, we have Scientology. Oh, here's a fun one that we haven't talked about in a while. It's a story that has to do with some of the most famous people in the world. I'm looking at you, Tom Cruise. Remember when he was jumping on Oprah's couch and then he was wearing that massive medallion in the middle of his chest like he's some sort of overlord? Well, why this happened is probably because the cult of Scientology will brainwash you. They will first tell you that you have to join them because everyone has a little evil alien soul inside them that will make them feel sad and do bad things, and the only way you can deal with that is through some special treatment that only they have. It's funny how a lot of these brainwashing cults use the same tactic. They tell you that you have a problem in your life and that the only way you can fix it is through something that they can give you. That's what I like about meditation. The whole idea is that you have the answers to your problems and no one else. But back to my point. Part of how this cult will brainwash you is making you believe that you need to give them collateral so you don't leave. Now, this could be anything from compromising photos, bank information, secrets about your life with physical proof. All of that stuff will be collected, and if you ever say, I don't want to do this anymore, they will expose your secrets, empty your bank account, and ruin your life. Coming in at number 2, we have the Superior Universal Alignment. This was a case where a group of people were all brainwashed by Valentina Andrade. She started spreading the word that she had been contacted by aliens as a child, and they told her that the end of days was coming. They told her that if she did not do anything to spread the word of aliens coming to destroy the world, that she would be destroyed with everyone else. But if she worked hard at spreading the word of the alien race, that she would be accepted into their ranks on Judgment Day, that she would be called into space and saved. She told her followers that if they did the same thing, that they would also be accepted into space with her. She spread the word that Jesus was an alien and the cult would support itself by kidnapping people and then selling their organs on the black market. Eventually, the cult was found and many of the members were arrested and charged, but Valentina was able to escape. And coming in the number 1 spot, we have QAnon. This is probably the most recent case of people getting brainwashed, so some of you may know this story very well, but other people will have no idea what's going on, so let me fill you in. QAnon started as someone posting on 4chan under the username Q. Now, something very important to remember about this story is that 4chan is a website that is really centered around trolling. The reason that this 4chan user had the username Q was because they claimed that they were working for the government and the highest level of government clearance is Q level. Through this account, this person would pop up and basically tell their followers secrets from the government. This was everything from there are alien lizard people who eat babies and they are running the government, to Donald Trump knows about them and is going to destroy them through his presidency. Now, these people believed it so much that they thought they were actually helping save the world by spreading the word of QAnon, even though several people who were on the back end of 4chan have come forward to say that it was all fake and different users had access to the account. But people believed it so much that eventually, with the prompting of Donald Trump, this led to people storming the Capitol. Now, when we reverse engineer this and look back to see where QAnon came from, it came from 4chan, which mostly works around trolling, which I said before. So that being said, convincing people to storm the Capitol with a bunch of fake conspiracy theories, although insanely dangerous and literally treason, is probably the most successful troll / brainwashing of all time. Alright guys, that has been our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, RAJNEESHEE, and we'll see you on the next one. There are also people who think it's okay to cover up crime. There are also people think there are also. Coming in at number 6, we have the RAJNEESHEE. Rajneeshee. When an idol named Rajneesh. This was a case where a group of people were all brainwashed by Valentina Andrandes. Andre Dande? Okay, Andre Dande.